The untold truth about Jordan. From Bernie Mac Show is just tragic. What if the boy who made you laugh every week on the Bernie Mac Show suddenly vanished from Hollywood without warning, without scandal, without a trace? Jeremy Suarez once. America's favorite nephew Jordan went from red carpets to complete silence, leaving fans with one burning question: what really happened? In today's episode of Legends of Black Excellence, we uncover the truth behind his mysterious disappearance, the rumors that nearly destroyed his name, and the strength that kept him standing when fame fell apart. Stay tuned, because this story isn't what the tabloids told you. It's deeper, raw, and absolutely real. Introduction and rumors about Jeremy Suarez after the Bernie Mac Show. When the Bernie Mac Show hit television screens in 2001, audiences instantly connected with its humor, warmth, and sincerity. Among its shining stars was a young talent named Jeremy Suarez, who portrayed Jordan Tompkins, the witty, anxious nephew of Bernie Mac's character. His quick expressions and sharp timing made Jordan both hilarious and relatable. Week after week, viewers watched him navigate family chaos, awkward adolescence, and Bernie's no-nonsense discipline, and it was clear that Jeremy wasn't just acting, he was Jordan. By the time the sitcom wrapped in 2006, after 5 celebrated seasons and more than 100 episodes, Jeremy had become a household name and one of the most promising young actors in Hollywood. But after the cameras stopped rolling, his light began to dim, and what followed would leave fans wondering what really happened to the boy who made America laugh. Rumors began surfacing almost immediately after the show's end. Some claimed Jeremy had been blacklisted in the entertainment industry, a theory that spread across fan forums and gossip blogs in the late 2000s. The whispers grew darker, according to speculation he had learned unsettling truths about the passing of his on-screen uncle Bernie Mac, and that knowledge had supposedly cost him his career. In 2008, the world mourned when Bernie Mac died at age 50, from complications related to sarcoidosis, an inflammatory disease that attacks the body's organs. Although his death was officially attributed to pneumonia and health complications, online communities began connecting non-existent dots, suggesting foul play or hidden causes. Jeremy, they said, had seen too much or asked the wrong questions. These theories had no evidence, but they spread fast, feeding off public grief and curiosity. As the gossip deepened, another myth took hold: that Jeremy's family had pulled him away from Hollywood out of fear. Message boards claimed his parents believed he might face danger if he stayed in the public eye. In reality, Jeremy was navigating the typical post-child actor struggle, aging out of roles and facing an industry reluctant to embrace young performers growing into adulthood. But to outsiders, his absence looked suspicious. He rarely appeared in interviews, skipped red carpets, and kept a low social media presence, all of which only fueled the fire. Fans who had once laughed at Jordan's childish antics now traded speculation about secret deals, threats, and hidden truths. It's a familiar cycle in celebrity culture. When information is scarce, imagination fills the void. And Jeremy's silence, meant to protect his privacy, was mistaken for confirmation of conspiracy. Looking back, the tragedy wasn't about mystery or danger. It was about how easily fiction replaces fact in the spotlight. Bernie Mac had been open about his health battles long before his death, and his passing was a loss that devastated his family, colleagues, and fans worldwide, not a cover-up. Jeremy Suarez, meanwhile, was a young man trying to transition from child stardom into adult life. The so-called blacklist never existed. What did exist was an industry that often forgets its young talents once the novelty fades. Yet through all the noise, Jeremy's respect for Bernie Mac never wavered. He often spoke of Bernie as a mentor, a father figure who taught him discipline, humility, and the power of laughter. The true untold story isn't one of scandal, it's one of resilience. Jeremy's career may have quieted, but the impact of his role as Jordan and the bond he shared with Bernie Mac remains unforgettable. Jeremy's career in the Bernie Mac Show. When the Bernie Mac Show began production in 2001, the search for the perfect Jordan Tompkins A nervous, quick-witted kid who balanced mischief with heart ended with a young performer from Burbank named Jeremy Suarez. His audition impressed everyone. Confident but charmingly awkward, he brought the character to life instantly. For Jeremy's mother, who guided him through early casting calls, this was more than a job. It was the opportunity that could define her son's artistic future. Jeremy entered the set as a child surrounded by adults who were already masters of their craft, including the towering comedic force of Bernie Mac. Yet he held his ground. In that environment, he learned to listen time, his reactions, and find the truth beneath every joke. It was his real-world classroom, a place where humor met honesty. From the first season, the chemistry between Jeremy and Bernie was undeniable, off-camera. Bernie mentored him in timing and discipline, teaching him to understand why an audience laughs rather than just how. The young actor later shared that Bernie treated him like a second son, a mentor who corrected him with patience and warmth. The show's scripts reflected this genuine relationship, the strict but loving uncle guiding a timid nephew through life's lessons. Each scene gave Jeremy space to grow as both actor and person. Over 5 years, the production became his extended family. It wasn't just another sitcom, it was a set, alive with laughter, storytelling, and responsibility. Working alongside Bernie, Jeremy learned professionalism early, showing up prepared and delivering performances that critics praised for their naturalism. The impact of the Bernie Mac Show was immense. Running for 104 episodes, it earned 32 wins out of 95 nominations, including Emmy and Peabody, honors, an impressive record that cemented its place in television history. For Jeremy, it meant instant visibility. He wasn't merely the cute kid in a family comedy. He became the emotional anchor for millions of viewers who saw pieces of their own families in his awkward charm. Fame arrived quickly, but so did the pressure. Growing up under bright studio lights can distort a childhood, yet Jeremy managed to stay grounded thanks to his parents' steady support. His mother reminded him that acting was a gift, not a guarantee. Between filming tutors and school assignments, he balanced two worlds, Hollywood and home, without losing sight of who he was. Those lessons would later prove vital when the spotlight began to fade. By 2006, when the final episode aired, Jeremy was no longer the small boy who once looked up at Bernie Mac for guidance. He was a young man with years of experience, a resume filled with awards, and a reputation for reliability. As the show wrapped, he spoke about wanting to explore different genres and challenge himself beyond comedy. That desire to evolve marked the next chapter of his career. Even though the industry didn't always open its doors easily, Jeremy carried with him everything he learned from Bernie: the rhythm of a well-timed line, the importance of integrity, and the courage to keep learning. The Bernie Mac Show wasn't just a milestone. It was the foundation of his artistic identity. Its influence shaped him far beyond the soundstage, leaving behind not only a legacy of laughter, but also a young performer forever transformed by the man who taught him how to stand tall both on and off the screen. Why Jeremy left Hollywood and life beyond acting. After the final curtain fell on the Bernie Mac Show, Jeremy Suarez found himself standing at an unexpected crossroads. For years, he had lived inside the rhythm of studio schedules, table reads, and laughter echoing from the set. Yet when the cameras stopped rolling, so did the opportunities. Hollywood had quietly changed its rules. Studios were now hiring 20-something performers to play teenage characters, avoiding the legal complexities of working with minors. Jeremy, barely 16 when the show ended, suddenly became too young for adult parts and too old for child roles. In later interviews, he spoke candidly about this limbo period, not bitterly, but with a clear understanding of the business mechanics. Production companies, he explained, preferred older actors who could work longer hours without tutors or time restrictions. What seemed like a natural career pause soon stretched into years, pushing him to reconsider what life outside of acting might look like. While many former child stars clung to fame, Jeremy chose something radical: normalcy. Away from red carpets and flashing bulbs, he entered the working world like anyone else. He picked up construction jobs, joined Boilermaker crews, and worked behind retail counters. The transition was humbling, physically demanding, and refreshingly real. He once described those days as a crash course in adulthood, learning how to earn a living with his hands instead of a script. The grind toughened him, but it also brought a quiet pride that no award could replace. There was dignity and hard labor in meeting co-workers who had never watched the show but treated him as an equal. Each day on site or in a store reminded him of what his mentor once taught: success isn't measured by applause, but by how well you keep showing up. Despite stepping away from Hollywood's spotlight, Jeremy never completely severed ties with his on-set family. He remained close friends with Camille Winbush, who played Vanessa, and Dee Davis, the bubbly Brianna. The three often reconnected over dinners or nostalgic conversations about the chaos and fun of their sitcom childhoods. He also stayed in touch with members of the behind-the-scenes team, the wardrobe stylists who taught him confidence through costume, the lighting experts who made every scene glow, and the set designers whose creativity turned sound stages into homes. These connections weren't just professional memories. They were lifelong friendships, built through years of shared laughter, exhaustion, and mutual respect. In an industry often criticized for its superficiality, Jeremy's lasting relationships were proof that authenticity could outlive celebrity. With time, Jeremy found peace in anonymity. The fame that once defined him became just one chapter in a larger story of resilience. Fans occasionally rediscovered him online, surprised to see how grounded and content he seemed. He spoke with gratitude about those early years, acknowledging that his experience on the Bernie Mac show gave him lessons that no classroom could. Yet he never expressed regret for stepping away. The entertainment world had offered him fame, but everyday life had offered him freedom. Today he carries both worlds within him, the discipline of a performer and the humility of a working man. His journey is not a fall from grace, but a quiet reminder that sometimes walking away from the spotlight isn't failure at all. It's finding your own light where no cameras are rolling. The character. Jordan and his bond with Bernie Mac. When audiences first met Jordan Tompkins on the Bernie Mac show, they saw more than a character. They saw a reflection of every curious, anxious, and lovable kid navigating the messiness of growing up. Played by Jeremy Suarez, Jordan was the middle child, bright yet insecure, thoughtful yet easily flustered. He wasn't the loudest or the boldest in the household, but his quiet humor and genuine innocence made him unforgettable. Jeremy's expressive face, careful delivery, and ability to turn even a moment of panic into laughter gave Jordan a rare authenticity that few child actors can capture. Each episode revealed layers of his personality. The boy who overthought everything, who wanted approval but feared mistakes, who often served as the emotional compass in the show's comedic chaos. His presence grounded the humor in humanity, proving that the show's greatest strength wasn't just its jokes, it was its heart. At the core of that emotional depth was Jordan's bond with Bernie Mac, affectionately known on screen as Uncle Bernie. Their relationship became the series' beating heart. While Bernie's character often projected toughness and sarcasm, his moments with Jordan exposed vulnerability, compassion, and wisdom. The two shared scenes that blurred the line between acting and real mentorship. Bernie's improvisational style challenged Jeremy to react naturally, not perform transforming rehearsed lines into genuine exchanges. Off-camera, that dynamic continued. Bernie treated Jeremy like one of his own, offering advice about discipline, humility, and the value of hard work. Jeremy later described him as a second father, someone who modeled not only comedic brilliance, but moral grounding. Together, their chemistry illuminated every frame, shaping the show's identity as a family comedy that never shied away from real emotion. Jordan's storyline often mirrored the universal struggle between guidance and independence. Through his eyes, viewers experienced the awkward transition from childhood to adolescence, dealing with fear, curiosity, and the need to belong. Jeremy's nuanced performance turned simple scenes into moments of connection. A look of disappointment when Bernie scolded him, a nervous laugh when trying to impress, a sudden spark of courage when he finally stood his ground. Those beats resonated because they felt real. The audience saw themselves, their siblings, or their own kids in him. And Bernie's tough love parenting wasn't portrayed as cruelty, but as care wrapped in comedy. Their arguments and reconciliations offered lessons about respect, trust, and family unity that transcended television. It was this emotional honesty that made The Bernie Mac Show stand out in an era of laugh tracks and surface-level sitcoms. As the series matured, so did Jordan. Jeremy grew from a shy child actor into a confident young performer capable of handling complex themes with grace. His portrayal evolved from comedic relief to emotional anchor, giving depth to the show's larger narrative about responsibility and love. The final seasons revealed how much Bernie's mentorship, both on and off screen, had shaped him. When the credits rolled for the last time in 2006, fans felt they had watched not only a character grow up, but a real person coming of age under the guidance of a man who embodied both laughter and wisdom. The connection between Jeremy Suarez and Bernie Mac was the soul of the series, one that turned scripted lines into timeless lessons about family resilience and the power of unconditional care. Their bond remains one of television's most heartfelt legacies, reminding viewers that behind every punchline lies the profound truth of human connection. Early life and journey into Hollywood. Born on July 6, 1990, in the entertainment hub of Burbank, California, Jeremy Suarez grew up surrounded by studios, film sets, and the hum of creative energy. From the moment he could talk, he was fascinated by the rhythm of storytelling, mimicking lines from cartoons, staging playful sketches at home, and making everyone laugh at family gatherings. His parents, Patricia and James Suarez, quickly recognized that their eldest son had a gift that reached beyond ordinary childhood curiosity. Rather than dismissing it as a phase, they nurtured it, taking him to local auditions and enrolling him in acting classes. Patricia, in particular, became his anchor, driving him across Los Angeles for screen tests, balancing schedules between work and school, and protecting him from the rougher edges of show business. The Suarezes believed that discipline and humility should grow alongside talent, and they made sure Jeremy never forgot that his education and manners mattered as much as his next role. Jeremy's introduction to the screen came astonishingly early. At just 6 years old, he made his television debut in a 1996 episode of Sister Sister, playing a small but memorable part as a little boy who shared a few funny moments with Tia and Tamara Mowry. Though brief, the experience opened his world. He was mesmerized by the lights, the cameras, and the quiet coordination between crew members who turned imagination into reality. From that day forward, he knew he belonged in that environment. Soon after, he appeared in other series and commercials, sharpening his instincts in front of the lens. What set Jeremy apart was his natural ease. He didn't overperform or act for approval. Even at that age, he seemed to understand timing, silence, and sincerity, qualities that would later make him a standout in Hollywood's crowded field of child performers. His biggest leap came later that same year when he was cast in Cameron Crowe's Jerry Maguire 1996, sharing scenes with Tom Cruise and Cuba Gooding Jr. Jeremy played Tyson Tidwell, the adorable son of Gooding Jr.'s character Rod Tidwell. The role, though small, became a cultural touchpoint. His wide-eyed innocence and memorable line deliveries brought warmth to the Oscar-winning film. Acting opposite major stars at such a young age gave Jeremy a first-hand view of professionalism at the highest level. He observed how Cruise prepared meticulously for every shot, how Gooding Jr. used improvisation to elevate emotion, and how a single scene could be shot dozens of times to achieve perfection. Those lessons became part of his artistic DNA. While most children his age were learning multiplication tables, Jeremy was learning camera angles, lighting cues, and how to stay composed under pressure. The set of Jerry Maguire became his classroom, and every moment was a masterclass. After Jerry Maguire, Jeremy's career gathered momentum. Casting directors began to notice his ability to blend innocence with wit, a rare combination that made him ideal for family-oriented storytelling. His parents continued to provide balance, ensuring that he remained grounded amid growing attention. At home, chores and schoolwork came before auditions. They taught him gratitude that every role was both a privilege and a responsibility. By the time he entered his teens, Jeremy had already built an impressive resume, laying the groundwork for what would soon become his defining chapter, being cast as Jordan Tompkins in The Bernie Mac Show. But long before sitcom fame or award nominations, his story began in a modest Burbank home where two loving parents nurtured a boy's dream and guided him through an industry that could easily have consumed him. The foundations of his success were not just talent and opportunity, they were patience, protection, and a family who believed that light shines brightest when it's grounded in love. Filmography and voice acting career. From his first appearance in Jerry Maguire to his later ventures into animation and independent cinema, Jeremy Suarez carved a diverse and dynamic career that demonstrated far more than child star charm. After his breakout as Tyson Tidwell, the energetic son of Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character, Jeremy continued to expand his range across film and television. By the early 2000s, his voice, expressive and distinct, became a powerful tool for storytelling. Casting directors quickly realized that beyond his acting talent, Jeremy possessed an emotional depth that translated beautifully into voice work. His performances never felt exaggerated. They carried sincerity and relatability, allowing him to move fluidly between live-action roles and animated adventures. For a young performer growing up in an industry that often limits child actors to one note, Jeremy's adaptability marked him as something special, a true craftsman in the making. In 2003, Jeremy stepped into one of the most beloved animated films of the decade, Disney's Brother Bear. As the spirited bear cub Coda, his voice anchored the movie's heart. Sharing the screen through sound with acclaimed actors Joaquin Phoenix and Rick Moranis, he brought innocence and curiosity to a character that symbolized empathy and growth. The film was both a critical and commercial success, earning an Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature. Jeremy's vocal work stood out for its warmth and humor, capturing a believable childlike wonder that carried the emotional core of the story. The project introduced him to a new global audience and proved that his artistry could thrive even when unseen. Around this time, he also voiced characters in Treasure Planet 2002, the spacefaring adaptation of Treasure Island, and in The Land Before Time 8, The Big Freeze 2001, solidifying his reputation as one of the era's most recognizable young voices. A year later, Jeremy made another memorable mark in live-action comedy with Fat Albert 2004, directed by Joel Zwick. He portrayed Russell, one of the animated gang's real-world counterparts, alongside Kenan Thompson, Kyla Pratt, and Omarion. The movie blended cartoon nostalgia with heartfelt messages about belonging and friendship, and Jeremy's performance struck a balance between humor and sincerity. His delivery carried the same natural rhythm that had made him a standout on The Bernie Mac Show. Critics praised the film's youthful energy, and while Fat Albert wasn't an award juggernaut, it became a beloved family favorite that showcased Jeremy's ability to connect across age groups. During this period, he also lent his voice to acclaimed animated series such as The Proud Family, where he played various supporting characters, and King of the Hill, appearing in multiple episodes in 2008. These roles reflected his maturity as a performer, versatile, disciplined, and consistently engaging, whether in front of the camera or behind a microphone. By the time he appeared in the cult comedy Angry Video Game, Nerd the Movie, 2014, Jeremy had transitioned into a seasoned professional with nearly 2 decades of experience. The film, based on the popular YouTube series, was a nostalgic love letter to retro gaming culture, and Jeremy's portrayal of Cooper, an enthusiastic yet skeptical sidekick, was both grounded and entertaining. While the movie catered to a niche audience, it reminded fans that Jeremy still possessed the charisma and comedic instinct that once lit up primetime television. His filmography, spanning from family-friendly animation to quirky independent projects, illustrates a performer who evolved with grace rather than chasing stardom. Even without constant publicity, his work across genres continues to resonate with those who grew up watching him. For Jeremy Suarez, the beauty of his career lies not in fame, but in the authenticity of his craft, a legacy built on voice versatility and the quiet brilliance of a true storyteller. Personal interests and inspirations. Away from cameras and studio lights, Jeremy Suarez found peace in a world defined by movement, sound, and quiet reflection. He has always been drawn to activity, particularly basketball, a sport that mirrors his philosophy on life, disciplined, strategic, and deeply human. Whether shooting hoops at a local park or joining community games, he treats the court as a sanctuary. It isn't about competition, it's about rhythm and connection. Playing helps him clear his mind, stay focused, and maintain the balance that fame once threatened to disturb. The camaraderie of team sports reminded him of the ensemble spirit he once shared on set, where every player's contribution mattered. Even now, when life gets demanding, the bounce of the ball and the sound of sneakers on pavement take him back to simpler times when joy came not from applause, but from effort and motion. Music holds an equally important place in Jeremy's world. Long before he ever picked up a script, he was fascinated by melody and beat. Over the years, he learned to play both guitar and drums, teaching himself through endless hours of practice. Rock, jazz, and soul all find a place in his playlists. Music for Jeremy is more than a hobby, it's a language of emotion. The rhythmic pulse of percussion lets him release energy while the strings of his guitar allow moments of introspection. He once described the feeling of creating music as similar to acting. Both require listening, timing, and vulnerability. When he's not performing or writing, he enjoys discovering new bands and attending live shows in small venues far from the glamour of red carpets. Each song becomes a story, every note a reminder that art doesn't need fame to feel alive. Jeremy's admiration for cinema extends far beyond his own experiences in Hollywood. Among his idols are Bruce Willis, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Jack Nicholson, artists whose versatility and courage inspire him deeply. He often cites 12 Monkeys' Catch Me If You Can and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest as works that shaped his understanding of craft. Watching these performances taught him that great acting isn't about perfection, it's about truth. Willis's quiet intensity, DiCaprio's emotional precision, and Nicholson's fearless unpredictability each influenced how Jeremy approaches his roles. Even after stepping away from mainstream acting, he continues to study their methods, analyzing scenes frame by frame to understand how subtlety can carry more power than spectacle. These screen legends remind him that storytelling at its best transcends time and fame. It speaks directly to the soul. Beyond his creative passions, Jeremy is an explorer at heart. He loves traveling, not for luxury, but for perspective. Whether wandering through London's historic streets, hiking in national parks, or visiting new cultures, he approaches every journey as an education. Meeting strangers, tasting unfamiliar food, and hearing different languages allow him to grow as both artist and human being. Travel to him is an ongoing classroom, one that teaches empathy, patience, and adaptability. He believes that stepping outside one's comfort zone is the best way to understand humanity. Each destination adds another story to his inner library, fueling the empathy that once made Jordan so relatable. For Jeremy, fulfillment comes not from the spotlight, but from the experiences that expand his spirit. In his life beyond Hollywood, he's found something more enduring than fame, a sense of purpose shaped by play rhythm art and the endless adventure of discovery. Private life, marriage, and philanthropy. In recent years, Jeremy Suarez has transformed his public image from that of a former child actor into a thoughtful voice for optimism and authenticity. Although he no longer seeks the constant attention of Hollywood, he stays connected to his audience through social media, where he shares pieces of his daily life and messages meant to uplift. His posts reflect humility, encouraging followers to value patience, hard work, and self-belief over instant success. Rather than chasing trends, he uses digital platforms as a space to celebrate perseverance, community, and mental health awareness. Fans who grew up watching him now find in his words a sense of guidance. He reminds them that personal growth often happens quietly outside the spotlight. His presence online is never about nostalgia, it's about showing that resilience, kindness, and humor can thrive even after fame fades. Family remains Jeremy's anchor, a source of grounding in a world that often rewards superficiality. Away from the cameras, he cherishes intimate gatherings filled with laughter, home-cooked meals, and shared stories. Those moments of simplicity restore his sense of belonging. In 2017, he married Maria Suarez, his longtime partner, in a private ceremony attended by close friends and relatives. The union marked a new chapter, one defined by stability, partnership, and emotional balance. Maria, though not part of the entertainment industry, has been his steadfast supporter, encouraging his creative pursuits while protecting his privacy. Together, they have built a home centered on gratitude and generosity. Their relationship reflects the same authenticity that Jeremy values in his work: quiet strength, respect, and shared purpose. Beyond his personal life, Jeremy devotes much of his time to mentoring young people and contributing to causes that uplift underrepresented communities. He volunteers with youth organizations that focus on education, arts, and leadership development, believing that opportunity should never depend on privilege. Many of the young people he mentors describe him as approachable and genuine, a mentor who listens without judgment and encourages them to turn challenges into growth. Whether leading workshops or speaking at schools, he shares lessons drawn from his own journey: how to navigate self-doubt, how to recover from rejection, and how to stay true to one's values in a world that often rewards conformity. His outreach extends beyond borders, supporting community programs that emphasize empathy and inclusion. For Jeremy, philanthropy isn't a side project, it's an extension of who he is. Even as he continues to explore life outside mainstream fame, Jeremy hasn't abandoned acting entirely. Instead, he's become more selective, choosing roles that align with his principles, stories that shed light on social issues, compassion, and resilience. By combining artistry with advocacy, he redefines success on his own terms. The same sincerity that once made audiences fall in love with Jordan now resonates in his efforts to inspire change. He has proven that fulfillment doesn't come from celebrity, but from contribution. Jeremy Suarez's life today is not a retreat from the industry, it's an evolution. Between his marriage, community engagement, and creative endeavors, he has built a legacy rooted in empathy rather than ego. Through every act of mentorship, every heartfelt message, and every carefully chosen project, he continues to live by the belief that true greatness lies not in how brightly you shine, but in how much light you share with others. In the end, Jeremy Suarez's journey reminds us that greatness isn't always defined by constant visibility. It's found in how one chooses to grow beyond the spotlight. From a gifted child actor to a man grounded in purpose, he's rewritten what legacy truly means. With the unwavering support of Maria Suarez, his devotion to mentoring youth, and his continued pursuit of meaningful art, Jeremy stands as proof that integrity lasts longer than fame. His story closes not with tragedy, but transformation, an anthem of endurance, love, and humanity. This is Legends of Black Excellence, where legacy lives beyond the lights.